Hi there, this is Snowy and welcome back to Multifamily Playbook, where we simplify smart property management. Today, we are going to talk about one of the most uncomfortable but necessary parts of being a landlord. What do you say when a resident doesn't pay rent on time? So the mindsets we need to build up for ourselves and the mistakes we need to avoid during the rent collection. It's always tempting to avoid confrontation or go too hard, too fast. Both extremes can cost us. Following are the examples of the common mistakes that we can make. Number one, being vague or too passive while the residents haven't paid their rent on time. If you just say, hey, I'm wondering if you could make your payment, sounds like you are too soft and you are hesitating to ask the rent payment that any resident should pay to stay at the property. So it's not free to stay at any place. It's just like when you are working for somebody, you're expecting to get paid from your employees, right? So the landlord also expect to get a payment from a resident so that the landlord can pay all the other expenses such as property tax, insurance, repair, any other payrolls that have to pay to make sure the property is functional, provide to the residents. So don't feel shy or feel too bad when you are asking any of the residents who being late on their rent payment. Number two, not following up in writing. For example, such as letters, notices, text messages, or emails. Make it formal and make sure everything is documented. Number three, not enforcing late fees consistently. So make sure that the late fees and the amount of the late fees or the rules of being charged while the rent payment was late would be on the lease agreement. Everything should be followed by the lease agreement. Number four, getting emotionally reactive. So some of the property managers, they would be feeling so bad that they have to push the resident to pay their rent on time. So we always tell our property managers that it's just like you are working for us. Do you want to get your salary payment or payroll on time? It's the same thing. The landlord is expecting to receive the rent payment on time for the property they provide to the residents. So make sure each time when you reach out to the resident, your message should be professional, not personal. It's the business. It's not personal. Sometimes the managers or the managing team likes to make friends with residents, especially to someone that who they are close to. They feel bad. They chase the resident who pay their rent late. Here is the tips for us to follow up or communicate with our resident. We like to put the step-by-step communication sequence with our residents. All our communities set up automatic reminders to all our residents first of each month by text and email to remind them about the rent due on the first of each month. And if they already make their payment, they could just ignore the text or email we send each month on the fourth day or the sixth or the seventh, depending on which states your properties are. We will send out another reminder for any of the residents who haven't paid their rent on time or during the given grace period. For example, hi, Snowy, just a quick reminder that the rent was due on the first. Please let us know your expected payment date. Let us know if you were already sent it or pay online. And then put my name as well, Snowy, property manager. On all our communities, we required to send out another formal notice or formal reminder to the residents who haven't paid their rent on time. For example, on the third day in Texas, our community would send out a formal reminder or final reminder to all the residents who haven't paid their rent. Hi, resident's name. As of today, your rent payment hasn't been received yet. Your rent will be 3 days or 5 days or 7 days late. is not being paid within today. Of course, depending on different states. A late fee or a certain amount or 10% of your rent be added as outlined in your lease from the first day or the sixth day or the seventh days, depending on different states as well. Please arrange your payment today to avoid any further action. And then if we haven't received any payment within the grace period, a formal 3 days, 5 days, or 7 days notice to vacate the property would be served to the resident. So check your state's policy and make sure everything is done correctly and professionally. Make sure that your lease agreement is also professional and meets all the requirements from your state. And then also make sure everything would be documented. Of course, sometimes some residents would ask for extra days or more time to allow them to be able to make a payment. Usually, we would check their payment history and also we would verify the certain situation and see if we could work out with them. So a good prior payment history would be a okay checkbox for some of the residents like this. And some of the residents may just need a few more days, like 3 days more or 5 days, because usually a lot of the residents would be able to make a payment on the Friday payroll or paycheck date. So they might be able to work out with the resident like this. And then make sure you have the written agreement with the payment plan. Usually, just give the resident one time chance. If you accept late payments all the time, it might cause bigger trouble in the future for you. And be sure that to watch out with fair housing, because if you give anyone a later payment agreement, then you have to give that to everybody else in the same community. And if somebody who has been in payment late all the time, so if you are not able to accept any of the payment plan, or you have to say no to some of the residents that who were being late all the time, really hard. But make sure that you need to say no formally and legally. Make sure that you don't do anything unprofessionally. So for example, you can say, unfortunately, we are unable to offer a payment plan at this time. Rent is due in full by, for example, in Texas, the third day each month. To avoid the action, I encourage you to contact local support service if needed. Just make sure we never shame the residents and just state the terms clearly. I know, late payment is very stressful. As a landlord, we always like to see zero delinquency each month because that makes more meaningful to our performance of the property. Also financially better position for the property and to the landlord as well. Make sure with clear communication and good systems, it doesn't have to derail your business. If you like the topic, follow us by subscribing the channel. And you can also comment, what do you say when a resident pay late? See you next time. Bye.